The black mail-order bride had been rejected because of her skin color, until fate turned everything around when a millionaire farmer saw in her the perfect companion. "You're Amara Wilson," the man stammered, his face paling as if he had seen a ghost. "This won't work." "You didn't say you were—" He couldn't finish, but Amara did for him. "Black?" she asked quietly, her voice trembling as she stood on the train platform, rain softly falling on her delicate hat, now mocking the dream she'd built. After 6 months of heartfelt letters and 3 weeks of travel, her hopes crumbled the instant Harold Pierce saw her face. "You wrote so beautifully," he muttered, clutching his flowers. "I just imagined differently." Amara lifted her chin. "Tell you what exactly? That my skin is dark but my feelings are real?" "You never asked." Around them, curious eyes gathered, hungry for the spectacle of a black woman being turned away in public. "You must understand," Harold said nervously. "My business, my reputation. This can't happen." "I'll pay for your ticket home." But Amara stood tall. "I spent all my savings to come here. I have nowhere to return to." Before Harold could answer, a commanding voice echoed across the platform. "Is that your solution, Pierce? Throw money and hope the problem vanishes?" A tall man stepped forward, Alexander Maxwell. His simple yet elegant clothes, weathered skin, and confident gaze revealed quiet power. "This is none of your concern," Harold snapped. "It becomes my concern," Maxwell replied, "when I see a man I've known for 15 years act like a coward." Turning to Amara, his tone softened. "Miss, I'm Alexander Maxwell. I own a property nearby. You may stay at my estate until you decide what to do next." Harold's face drained of color. Everyone in Riverbrook knew Maxwell owned half the land in town. At the Maxwell estate, a sprawling Victorian home surrounded by green pastures, Amara was welcomed with quiet respect. Mrs. Foster, the housekeeper, showed no surprise at her presence. Over dinner, Alexander shared his story. Son of a banker and an abolitionist teacher, a man guided by principle rather than prejudice. When he asked about her past, Amara told him she'd been a teacher in Boston. Her school for colored girls closed due to lack of funds. What she didn't say was that she carried with her an inheritance, old documents hidden in her trunk, that could change Riverbrook's history. Days turned into weeks, and whispers about the black woman at Maxwell's mansion spread. One afternoon, Harold dared to visit. Seeing Amara now poised and radiant, he stammered excuses about propriety. "It's improper for a woman, especially a black woman, to stay with an unmarried man." Alexander's gaze turned cold. "Go on, Pierce. Finish your sentence." Amara smiled calmly. "No need. I've accepted a position here as Mr. Maxwell's librarian." Harold turned red with outrage, not realizing she was studying old land records buried within those library walls. Weeks later, Riverbrook's town hall filled with anxious townsfolk. Harold shouted about impropriety until the doors opened and Amara entered beside Alexander. Calmly, she presented historic deeds proving her great-grandfather, Joseph Freeman, was the rightful owner of most of Riverbrook's land, stolen generations ago. Gasps filled the room. The documents were verified as authentic. Instead of demanding revenge, Amara proposed a community foundation to right the wrongs. Harold collapsed in defeat, realizing his prejudice had brought about his own downfall. Months later, Riverbrook was transformed. The Freeman Foundation funded schools, homes, and scholarships. Amara, now Mrs. Maxwell, had become a symbol of dignity and justice. Where Harold's store once stood, a library now told stories once silenced. Watching children play on the same land once denied to her people, Amara smiled. "Revenge lasts a day," she said. "But restoration lasts generations."